Meet Jasmine and Sarah. Both are 29. Both work the exact same retail job in New York City, earning $3,000 a month. To the IRS, they are identical economic units. But there is a lethal discrepancy in their financial reality. Jasmine ends her year drowning in fees and stress. Sarah ends hers $1,700 richer. Sarah isn't smarter. She isn't working harder. She has simply immunized herself against the scarcity surcharge, a rigged algorithmic penalty designed to extract wealth, specifically from people who have the least of it. Did you know the average American pays $948 extra every single year just because they don't know how to dodge these traps? That's according to the National Financial Educators Council's 2025 data. I'm going to expose the exact mechanics of this wealth transfer, back it up with hard data, and give you the 3-step audit to stop the leak. Here is what the banking cartel doesn't want you to realize. Being broke is expensive by design. They have engineered a system where the cost of living creates a feedback loop of extraction. We need to define exactly what we are fighting against. Economists call it the poverty premium, but the most visceral explanation comes from the boots theory. The logic is brutal. A wealthy person buys a $50 pair of boots that lasts 10 years. A poor person can only afford $10 boots that fall apart every season. Over 10 years, the poor person spends $100 on boots, double the cost, and still has wet feet. The system charges you a premium for lacking liquidity. This isn't just about footwear. It is about housing, the single biggest extractor of your wealth. In 2024, the algorithm of rent prices forces you into bad liquidity decisions. Apartment Advisor's January 2026 data reveals a staggering gap. The median rent in the U.S. sits at $1,450, but in extraction hubs like NYC, it skyrockets to $3,560. That is not just a high price. That is a mathematical trap. When rent swallows 90% of a paycheck, a reality confirmed by Go Banking Rate's 2026 analysis, you are left with zero margin for error. The system knows this. It relies on this. Let's look at how this plays out for Jasmine and Sarah. Jasmine takes home $3,000. Her share of the rent is high, leaving her with almost nothing. When a $400 emergency hits, maybe a medical copay or a broken phone, she doesn't have the cash. The system forces her to use a service that charges a fee. Maybe it's an overdraft. Maybe it's a payday advance. She pays a $50 penalty to solve a $400 problem. That is an immediate 12.5% tax on her existence. Sarah, earning the exact same amount, built a buffer first. When the same emergency hits her, she pays the $400 cash. No fee, no interest, no stress. Jasmine pays $50 for being broke. Sarah pays $0 for being prepared. The bank profits from Jasmine's vulnerability and ignores Sarah's stability. This is the mechanism of the scarcity surcharge. It gets worse because the psychological toll is part of the trap. When you are in survival mode, your brain is wired to focus on immediate threats, paying the light bill, getting food, which makes long-term planning chemically impossible. The institutions banking on your failure know this. They count on you being too exhausted to optimize your accounts, too stressed to check your statements, and too desperate to shop around. They aren't just taking your money. They are harvesting your mental bandwidth to ensure you stay in the cycle. This isn't an accident. It is a business model. But the rent trap is just the visible part of the iceberg. The real wealth transfer happens in the shadows, through what I call invisible leaks. These are the silent extractions that drain your account while you sleep. The system has three main siphons: the banking penalty, the risk penalty, and the emergency gap. Let's decode them one by one. First, the banking penalty. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's 2025 reporting confirms that despite regulatory pressure, many banks still charge upwards of $35 for overdraft fees. Think about the audacity of that. You run out of money, and their response is to charge you more money. It is a tax on emptiness. If you are wealthy and your balance drops, they might waive the fee or offer you a free transfer. If you are poor, they punish you. They are betting that you are too trapped to switch banks. Then there is the risk penalty, specifically in insurance. This is where the algorithm gets ruthless. Progress Chamber's January 2026 data exposes a shocking trend. Car insurance rates have surged by 13.5%. But here is the kicker. This hike disproportionately hammers those with lower credit scores or older cars. The algorithm equates struggling with risky and jacks up your premiums. You are driving the same roads, obeying the same laws, but because the system scores you as vulnerable, you pay a surcharge. It is a penalty for not being rich enough to be trusted. Finally, the emergency gap. This is the most dangerous leak of all. The New York Fed and Bankrate's January 2026 analysis proves that 1 in 3 Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency with cash. This isn't a personal failing. It is a systemic vulnerability. When you fall into that gap, you turn to credit cards, payday loans, or overdrafts. You enter the debt churn. Look at Marcus, a rideshare driver in Atlanta. He represents millions of us. He works hard, but his income is lumpy. Once a month, the timing of his bills clashes with his payout, and his account dips negative by a few dollars. The bank hits him with a $35 overdraft fee. He thinks, it's just $35, but do the math. $35 a month is $420 a year. That is the cost of a new tire he desperately needs. The bank extracts a tire's worth of wealth from him every year simply because his cash flow is 2 days off. He isn't buying luxuries. He is paying a subscription fee for poverty. Whatever ridiculous fee you have seen on your statement recently, whether it's an overdraft, a maintenance charge, or some vague service fee, I want you to comment it below right now. Let's build a database of their greed in the comments. Now that we have exposed the mechanism, we need to dismantle it. The banks are betting on your inertia. We are going to break that bet. The escape plan isn't about saving more money you don't have. It is about closing the leaks so you keep what you earn. We do this with a 3-step protocol: audit, switch, automate. Step 1 is the vampire audit. The system thrives on your inattention. Tonight, download your last 3 months of bank statements. You are looking for recurring charges that give you 0 value. I'm talking about monthly maintenance fees, overdraft fees, and out-of-network ATM charges. These are vampire costs. They suck the life out of your finances without you noticing. If you see a monthly maintenance fee just for having a checking account, you are being scanned. There is 0 reason in 2026 to pay a bank to hold your money. They should be paying you. This leads to step 2, the product switch. This is the single most effective action you can take to reverse the flow of wealth. The banking cartel relies on you keeping your money in standard accounts that pay nothing. NerdWallet's January 2026 data shows the average savings account pays a pathetic 0.34% APY. Meanwhile, disruptor banks like Varo are offering up to 5% APY on balances under $5,000. Let me explain what that means for your wallet. If you have $2,000 parked in a standard bank, you earn about $7 a year. Move that same money to a 5% account, and you earn $100. That is free money. The difference is pure profit for the big banks if you stay, and pure profit for you if you switch. You stop paying them to hold your cash and force them to pay you for the privilege. Step 3 is the $50 automation. This stops the Boots Theory cycle. You need a buffer, a wall between you, a fees. We mean a subface. Let us pick up any time review. A something of fees. What if their birth me makes buffer a lot of fees? You need a buffer, a wall between you, a fees. You need a buffer, a wall. You need a buffer, a wall between you and fees. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. It starts with just enough to cover that $400 emergency gap. Let's run the calculation for Luis, a warehouse worker in Dallas. He is living paycheck to paycheck, supporting his family. He feels like he can't save, but he does the audit and finds he's paying $15 a month in random banking fees and subscribes to a streaming service he rarely uses. He cuts the fee-heavy bank account, switches to a free high-yield one, and cancels the sub. That frees up about $30. He sets up an automatic transfer of just $50 every payday into his new 5% savings account. It feels small, but in 4 months, he has that $400 buffer. The next time his car breaks down, he pays cash. No credit card debt, no overdraft fee. The cycle breaks. He has effectively given himself a raise just by rearranging where his money sits. This is not magic. It is engineering. We are reverse engineering the trap they set for us. By auditing the leaks, switching to high-yield accounts, and automating that buffer, you reclaim that $948 a year. That is nearly $1,000 the system expected to extract from you. Keep it. Invest it. Use it to buy the better boots that last 10 years. If you are done being a source of passive income for the banking cartel, subscribe. Next week, I'm going to show you exactly how to invest that first $1,000 you save to start building real equity. This is our money. Let's take it back. This video is for educational purposes only, not personal financial advice. All data is from the National Financial Educators Council, Apartment Advisor, Go Banking Rates, the CFPB, and NerdWallet as of early 2026. Products mentioned are examples, not recommendations. Consult a licensed financial advisor for your specific situation.